This episode of the Switchpoint podcast is sponsored by Industrial Rail Journal. IRJ was created to shine light on one of the most important but often overlooked sectors of the rail industry, industrial rail operations. From chemical plants and steel mills to grain terminals and transload facilities, thousands of businesses rely on rail infrastructure every single day. Industrial Rail Journal was built to highlight the people, operations, safety, and infrastructure that keep the rail industry moving. Learn more at industrialrailjournal.com.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Switchpoint Podcast. I'm your host, Joseph Poro. Today's episode, I'm here today with a longtime friend of mine, Michael Thomason. He's been with us for a number of years. He's always been our DSLE. He has recently taken on the role of our Director of Operations. He and his family are moving from Houston area down to Texas up here to Ohio. So welcome, Mike. Welcome to the podcast.
Glad to be here.
I know you've listened to some of them before, but this one is not informational. This one is just you and I picking each other's brains about what we've seen in the field. And maybe some of the audience can relate to some of the things that we've seen that, you know, are good. Some of the things that kind of piss us off and annoy us as veterans in the industry. And then as professionals now in this industry, I guess I'll probably kick this one off. I would say I think the biggest things that are easiest for you and I when we go out into the field, we always start with an audit. We go out there and we walk around the customer site. We get to know them. We look through their paperwork, and usually the headache is pretty evident instantly when I look at the paperwork. But then when it goes out to the field, that's when it translates into practices. So I think some of the biggest things for me is when I go out to a site and instantly nobody has on any PPE. They're just out there in like some old gardening clothes and I'm watching a shove happen and I can't see if the person's riding the car. I can't see who's where. Talk to me a little bit about some of the things that you've seen out in the field that stick out to you right away.
Some of these boneheads, they no PPE, the way they switch, the way they ride cars.
Like, because to me, I see them doing stuff like, you know, they'll put the car right on top of the switch before they go to throw it or something.
They don't look at switch points before they throw the switch. They just throw it out there, and then next thing you know, it's either they derail it or...
Yeah. It's just, you know, basic fundamentals, I think. And I think a lot of that comes from just sloppy work habits. You know, some of it, they come into the industry and they're just taught wrong from the get-go. You know, It's like Bill showed Fred, showed Joe, showed Bob. And that is a recipe for disaster when there's no standard operating procedure. But beyond that, I think some of it, and I know you and I are guilty of this too, is we create our own habits because we've been around the equipment too long. We stop respecting it and start disrespecting the equipment. And it's, you know, you might ride the rail car and get that lift pin with your foot or something, and you tell them take it ahead.
I've never done that.
Bullshit. All right, Mr. Perfect. Okay, well, I for sure have. But, you know, it's having that experience. It's like, you know what to look for.
Yeah.
Right? And coaching these guys is a huge part of improving not just them as a company, right? Because we want them to be aligned with their Part 217 and Part 218 operating rules and operating practices. We want them to actually do things the safe way. I guess talk to me about some of the pushback that you've had in the field and dealing with some of the hard-headed guys out in the field.
Pretty much just stubborn.
Yeah.
You try to tell them to do something, this is how it's supposed to be done. They've been set in their ways. Just like when I first started, I was taught by all the old heads a lot of bad habits. They taught me all that stuff, but it was like they had missing feet, toes, fingers, maybe an arm, you know. But these guys, they just never been taught, I guess you could say, right.
Yeah.
So they just, some new guy, some random guy comes out there and starts showing them, hey, but, you know, most of the time it's like a month later, they're right back to their bad habits.
Yeah. I had a couple of old heads. So when I hired out with the BN years ago down in Galveston, Texas. And I had just some angry little old conductor. And he was just an old head. You know, he had no respect for us. And it was just, this is how you do it. This is how you don't do it. Now get out there and do it right. And this is when we still used to train on how to mount and dismount moving equipment and whatnot. And I was thinking, like, man, one wrong slip and, you're done. And I was like, damn, is this really what I want to do? It couldn't have been any worse than the Army.
We had a bunch of old heads that'd sit there and not even, like, they'd find out you'd want it. They were going to get a trainer on there, and they'd refuse it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't want you out there. Even the engineer or sometimes the conductor. They don't want that because they had very bad habits, and they didn't want you seeing them.
We were at, I won't say where, but we were recently at a customer site, and we had a guy who was just struggling to get anything right, and it was like, we're day 3 or day 4 into this training, and we're down there on the ground, and we're throwing the switch, and I asked him, I was like, all right, this is like a toss-up question. I'm like, which track are we going to? He was like, we're going to this one. I was like, no, we're not. We're going to the other one. And so I switched it, and I was like, okay, now do you see which track we're going to? And he points to the wrong one again. I was like, man, okay, it can only go one way or the other. I was like, all right, this is not the guy. And that's part of this business, right? You have to be able to tell people no. That's the biggest thing. A lot of these companies that hire us, they think, oh, well, cool, I'll just get my guys trained, and now they're going out there. It's like, wait a minute. Not everybody is going to pass this class. It sucks because a lot of that we take the onus as teachers to feel responsible. Like, man, we didn't teach, we didn't instruct properly, but it's like, no, we've done this a million times, and like we've refined it, and that was a prime example of they are set in their ways, and they got this much time left, and they wasn't going to change for nobody because they were fixing to ride off into the sunset. And it's crazy. It's sad to say this, but it's true. 80% of accidents that happen within 5 miles of the home stretch, right? Yeah. Right before you get to your house. And it's the same thing. Even when we were overseas in Iraq, we felt it. We had the bad juju, and sure enough, bad stuff did happen the weeks before we got home or the months before we got home. And the same thing happens in the railroading, right? You work your entire career safe and you dodge all these bullets, and it's right up to the end. It might be your last ride. It might be the last few months, and maybe it's just a cush job, or maybe, you're doing a 2-man job, or maybe you're out in the yard just bullshitting, trying to get through the day. And that's when something happens, because you start to let your guard down. And that goes back to our topic of just sloppy habits in the field. You just get complacent,
I forgot where it was. We'd went there once before, and then when we went back again, it's like they never even, I couldn't even think. I was just thinking about that. Went there, and you'd ask me, they learn anything? It's like when we leave, it's like they go right back to.
That's the hardest part. We do it for like 4 to 5 days. We're with the same class, right? And that's way longer than what a lot of our, other competitors in this industry do. They try to do online modules, and they're like, congratulations, here's your certificate for being an online railroader. Yeah, they give you the blessing, and they send you about your day. And it's like, wait a minute. Do you think this person is qualified to go out? You're going to qualify this individual to go out there now and start handling equipment? And like, this dude doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. He just clicked through the modules. And some of these, when you look at them, right, some of them are like 1 minute, 3 minutes, 40 seconds, 80 seconds spent on these modules. And you're like,
it's like taking a driving test online.
Yeah. And it's like
safety course or whatever it was.
Yeah. I mean, and we're spending 5 days with them. It's like, what kind of habits do you think you're instilling in these people within a 4-hour module? Are you literally just trying to push warm bodies through the door? Because if your goal is to push out warm bodies, you're going to be bringing in cold bodies, right? It's you've got to spend time crafting these people.
Yeah, it's just, but like a lot of things I've noticed, it's like you try to shorten up because they spend X amount of time on the radio giving out an order. This takes this long when they could shorten it to this. So they're trying to, and they just get mind boggled and all jungled up, and it's just they talk too much on the radio sometimes. And
I could honestly run on forever about some of the dumb shit that people do. What are some of the near misses that you've seen, that you've been a part of personally, that you're able to tell people when we go out to the field? Because I see you up there talking with them when they're up in the cab at the locomotive, or the car mover, or when you're on the ground at the switch. I see you always talking with them. So, what are some of the experiences that you have had as far as near misses that you share with them?
Pretty much like riding cars too close to other cars, like when you're shoving into tracks. You're walking up with your back towards your movement.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't believe that cars are pretty quiet.
Yeah, they are.
And, when they come by you, you're just like, I've been spooked sometimes, and I'm guilty of it. Late at night, you don't want to walk next to the weeds and the trees. You want to be in that safe spot right there on the ballast.
On the ties
and,
sometimes.
Yeah, and you got like this, and you hear it, you barely hear it come, and I mean, it just barely brushes you, and you just like, I see a lot of that. That's the main thing. Or one time we were shoving some cars down there in Texas, and had an engineer at the time shoving through a steel span bridge. And it was late at night. Everybody was tired, and I was like, hey, why don't you go ahead and start slowing it down? He was a stutter guy. He was skinny. And he just racked him back and kept shoving. That's a near miss. But I knew there was plenty of room, but at night, it looks like this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the main thing. It's just like I see a lot of people shoving in cars and in tracks, and, and they got a line of cars right here. And, I mean, it's close. And then to the point that they got to scoot on the inside part. And then they can get back out on the outside and shove in.
I think a big thing for me, especially now, because we've changed. I mean, we still do, the Navy and the military stuff and then their rail movement. And we still do some railroads. Right? We just left a railroad up in Wyoming. But our focus, has shifted over to the transload side. And that is the most dangerous side to me. I think that's the new face of railroading, is going into transload. That's why all the railroads are trying to buy up all this property, right? And then re-rent it out. But then they just get all these contractors or subcontractors in, and they're like, here, just unload the product. And these people are, they find the cheapest labor they can get, and they don't have ownership of the program. And with that comes sharing of equipment. And some of that equipment are radios. And what bothers me is when I'm out on a site and I'm watching maybe a switcher engine like SW1500 or 1200 or something, and they're sharing the same radio channel as the forklifts, as the guys in the warehouse, and they're trying to your point, somebody's trying to control a shove, or to the best of their knowledge, they're trying to bring the car, they don't use the proper verbiage or whatever. They're just like, hey, bring it to me, come here. And somebody starts talking on the radio at the warehouse about lunch. And it's like, okay, do you not understand that if you're walking all over the channel, this dude's not going to stop the train in time?
Yeah.
And I think just being cognizant is a huge aspect of, safety, right? And that's one of the things that we teach is, for instance, I know I've done it, and I've heard you say this too, is like once they're down to like 2 cars or 1 car, 1.5 car, just hold down the PTT button, keep it keyed up so no one can walk over you. Because the moment you let it go, one, it takes an extra second and a half to relay that. And then the second part is someone's going to step on your command movements.
Or the things of, these engineers and all that, they won't stop, when you got to stop. Like if somebody gives you 10 cars, if you hadn't heard from them in 5, it's like these guys just want to keep on shoving. Next thing you know, you look out your window and you see your conductor laying on the ground because you just cut him in 2.
Yeah.
And it just, there are some that actually do take it serious.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot that just, the whole thought of getting up there and running an engine, they think it's cool and this, that, and the other, they get to do this, but they don't take in the big picture of, there's a lot more responsibilities than just running that engine and looking cool and waving at kids and tooting your horn. So,
yeah, I know I can always tell whenever you're jumping in, just because we've worked with each other for so long, and I know kind of how you work and how I work. But for instance, when we were at one of the customer sites not too long ago, a week or 2 ago, and we were watching them control the shove, and I had one guy on the ground. I was like, all right, walk the cars back, walk the train back, 20 cars or however many, and you were up in the cab watching the student drivers shove back. And I told the guy on the ground, I was like, hey, don't give an update, because if you don't get an update within half the last instructions, you got to be stopped by that. Right. And I was like, so 20 cars, don't give any updates. And he didn't. And the guy just kept on rolling. And then ultimately you were like, all right, stop. And then I'm sure you were up there talking with him like, hey, what were you supposed to do? And then the next time, they were getting really antsy on the radio. They're like, "Is somebody back there?" There's like 20 cars, and then it goes, somebody back there.
How's it going back there? How's it looking?
Well, it's funny because I was telling the guys on the ground, I was like, you can kind of be a smart ass if your engineer's running too slow. And I was like, all right, so shove back 20 cars, 2-0 on a stop. And then the guy was like, all right, shoving back 20 cars, 20. And then it started, he was barely moving. And we were out there for, it's like only 10 seconds, but it feels like an hour. And I was like, keep shoving 19 and a half more. And the guy on the ground was like, no, that's a smart thing to say. Like, yeah, you can be a smart ass. That's just one of those things that you learn on the industry is, how you can manipulate the shove by, some people shove by cadence. Some people do it by time. Some people do it by distance, and you're supposed to do it by the distance, right? But, people try to run the job ultimately from the seat or from the ground, and they try to say, hey, shove back, 30 cars. Might only be good for 10 cars, but they're just trying to get that engineer to hurry up and throw it, and that's why we always have people start on the ground, of course, and then they move to the seat at the transload site. Because these transload customers, they don't need a full 240 and 242 conductor engineer program, right? So they don't have to go through months and months of schooling, but they still need to understand the job on the ground before they can get up in the seat. Yeah. And, that's just one of those things that experience will tell you. It's like,
I used to have an engineer down there in Flatonia. I'd always see him looking out like when we were shoving back, I'd be up in the cab with him. I'd see him looking down through the switcher, the big switcher window. And I asked him, I said, what are you doing? Like, keep staring. Why aren't you looking at your mirrors? He counts the ties. He's an old head. I mean, he hired back in 60s and 70s. He'd count the ties. Like, he'd say, hey, 10 cars. He knew how many ties per car. And he would just sit there and stay concentrated on it. And I'm like, dude, my eyes would be doing like this, looking at that stuff.
Well, I mean, like, that goes back to trusting. Your eyes are the guy at the back of the train. Just go off of what they're telling you. Despite what go off of them, right? Of course, there's fail safes in place. Like if you don't receive an update or, if you just know it's been bad counts throughout the entire day because it's a new guy with one of those bright orange, don't trust me hats. That's what we call them.
I threw that thing out the window. Probation period ended. I was like, so it's down there in South Texas somewhere.
Fucking litter bug, dude.
Probably somebody wearing it.
Some homeless guy down there.
Like, man, that's the coolest hat I've ever had.
Swapping needles for hats. I was doing our part to keep them down. Yeah. One of the exercises that we do in class is, and you've seen me do it, I'll take out a pocket knife or I'll take out a Sharpie and I'll hold it up and I'll tell the guy, I'm like, all right, face the wall, now back up to me, and I'll do it in front of the class. And the guy backs up, and then he's like, he doesn't want to get poked by the knife or he doesn't want to get Sharpie on his shirt. So he starts to turn around and look, and it's like, yeah, you want to know what's behind you, right? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, now do it again. And then I hold it up and I'm like, all right, you've got 10 steps until you touch this knife. So I'm going to back you up 9 steps. And he's like, okay. And so 9, 8, 7, 6. And they feel more confident doing that. I'm like, that's how your engineer feels. If you're getting those updates consistently, you're more confident in the guy behind you. But it's the moment you screw it up. If I tell him like, hey, take back 10 steps. And the moment he takes 1, 2, and I'm like, whoa, stop. Like, you're not going to trust me anymore after that.
No, it's just like when you shove them back and you hear, hey, shove them back 20 cars and you only went 2. All right, 5 more. Yeah. And you're just like, what the f***?
I know.
So those are the ones that, like, when they like to shove you back next time and they give you like a 50 car count.
Yeah.
You go slow because they're hanging off that rear car by a little grab iron.
Yeah.
Their arms are going to get tired. So, yeah, I'll fix you some.
Yeah. It's funny because everyone always when I had this one engineer and he was just the worst. And his daddy was part of the brass, the upper echelon. So every time he derailed or got in trouble, it was always somebody else's fault, always the conductor's fault.
Oh,
never him. Yeah. It was just one of those good old boy things down there. And he was just but yeah. But anyway, he used to always do that. He knew if I was riding, he would go 1 or 2 miles an hour just to make it miserable. If it was miserable conditions outside, because we hated working with each other. And every time, we got put on the same job together and none of us had any days to take off or lay it down, we were like, damn it. So we'd go in there, we'd have to work. But I'd do the same thing. You know, I'd give him, if I knew he only had 2 cars behind him or something, I knew he was always on his phone up there. That's what derailed a couple of times. He wasn't paying attention. So I just tell him, hey, shove back 20 cars. And there was only like 7 cars. He'd throw that thing all the way up there, throttle up, come back, and boom, slam in there, throw him out of his seat up in the front. I'd say, oh, that'll do.
we had one engineer. You never rode a shove with them. I mean, he was like world's worst, and especially in rock plants. You'd give him good car counts all the way back. You're shoving back 95 car rock train. Yeah, you're just like, all right, 10, all right, 5, and you can kind of maybe feel, but then it seemed like he would speed up a little bit more. All right, 4, 3, and then you start hearing it.
Yeah.
And you're like, this, I'm off.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, some of those audible indicators were always a thing too. It's like, you know, you can, when you hear the brakes set or release, you start to hear them pump and start to tick. Right, you're like, all right, he's up there freaking out. He's throwing on.
You don't hear the air set until you give him a 5 car count on a 95 car rock train. You're just like, what the?
Yeah. Sometimes when you see, like when I've done expert witness cases, and you know, some of them they actually have video, and it's like you just watch somebody shoving through a warehouse, and they're giving car counts, and suddenly they hop off, and then boom, the train crashes in there, and it's like, first of all, what are you doing riding through the warehouse? Get down and walk it, right? But then also, it's just. People don't respect it or being familiar with an area. That's really important. You have to understand the physical characteristics of the area that you're in. You have to understand, you know, your grades, your slopes, your curvature. You have to know all of that about the area that you're going into, especially in the industries where you have fences, derailers that are just randomly scattered throughout a facility. You don't see that shit till last minute, you know? Yeah. So look at the job board that's posted outside, or if they don't have it, get down and walk your ass over there.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting paid by the hour, first of all.
Pretty much.
So just walk it. I would rather know, you know, same thing in the military. We scout out our area before we would go and do something. Yeah. If you're bringing your train in there and the dispatcher's bitching at you, like, what are you still doing on the main? Get off the main, get off the main. It's like, dude, wait a minute.
All you have to do is just say that one word and safety. It shuts everybody down. Why are you taking so long? It's a safety thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like,
yeah.
They're like, on the other side of the mic.
Yeah. It's like, say something over the radio so everyone can hear you arguing.
What'd you say, sir?
It's funny. Spoken like true railroaders.
Come again.
I know how to make money, but no, you know, it's not necessarily just about making the money out there on the rails. It's, you know, it's about doing the job and servicing the customer. And that's, as much as we bitch about the bad things that you see, I really like how pivotal this side is to our economy, right? This side of the industry is to our economy. It's like, these are the mom and pop businesses that are opening up locations that are trying to move product, right? And that's why I don't want all these big rail conglomerates to buy up these little places, because they're just going to pimp them out and jack up the rent to the lessees. And it's like, stop, you know, just let these small businesses be small businesses. But in that line of work, it's like you get to see the importance that it's making to the country. Like, we might have a small steel manufacturer who has like coal cars or something.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, where are those coal cars going? It's like, oh, they're going to our other customer site up in Michigan to make, you know, new vehicles, right? Or you're moving frac sand, or you're moving, you know, coal cars. And it's like, oh, you're going to make, you know, molten steel with that. You know, and just to see all the different parts of the country come together, I love seeing that. So it's really important for us to take care of these guys. And it's frustrating because they think we're just out there to bitch at them.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, what I'm telling you is going to save your life.
I am, but
yeah, some of them, you know, like
some of them need a pop knot on their head.
Yeah, well, you know, that's one of the fun things, right? Is, well, I don't want to say fun things, but that's one of the rewarding parts, is that we're not going to pass you, right? Because just because you pass your written exam doesn't mean you pass your practical, your field, your OJT portions, right? It's like, okay, cool, you're a know-it-all on paper, but when you get out there,
you have no common sense.
You have no common sense whatsoever. It's like, I'm not going to work with you. I don't trust you working with your own guys.
I've had a few like that.
Some of the upper management teams, you know, they don't care. They just want the warm body out there.
They just want to push them out there. Hey, we got to get it.
Yeah. So. And I think that's part of the disconnect too, right? Ownership versus management. There's always that struggle. Owners say, yeah, I want to keep the doors open. Yeah, I want us to be safe. yeah, I want us to, not have an injury or fatality, right? Because that's their bottom dollar. They're going to be losing money if OSHA comes in, if the FRA steps in, or EPA, whoever.
Injury. I mean, they got to pay that out for.
Yeah. Well, managers, they don't see it at the same level as ownership. Managers are like, I was told to do this job. I need to get somebody out there and switch it. And it's like, wait a minute, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. I would say another issue is track conditions. We won't say where we were, but we were just at another site the other day.
Yeah.
And that track looked like ass. And there was a derailment out there, and we had warned the customer, hey, this could happen. And it did. And, it's an uphill struggle, right? You got to make dollars make sense. And it's like, where do you allocate your money to the help so you can get more cars in so that you can make more money? Or do you get thin on your revenue to keep your infrastructure up and running? Dude, I've been wanting to shoot you with this. I keep eyeing this gun.
Dude, don't.
I've been ready to.
As soon as I saw that, I grabbed it. I was walking around the office.
What happened? Someone took your bullets, didn't they? Well, whatever. No, I'm excited. So, for those of you who don't know,
gave me a wrong bullet.
I had our receptionist. I had her order a ton of these Nerf guns for everybody all around the office. And the other day we had like a full out Nerf war, and it was fun. Like everybody was going around shooting everybody, and I was in Tina's office, and I knew she didn't see me sneak in there, and she thought I was in another office. And so she was creeping around the corner or whatever. She was creeping around the corner, thought she was going to sneak up on me. And I was right behind her office and pow, tagged her right in the back. She screamed.
Grayson liked that.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait till she comes up there.
Grayson get up here. They're excited. I'm excited to get my babies up here. And
yeah. You just got the houses. So the house is totally sold.
Yeah.
All
done.
Done deal. You got the movers
done
coming out, and we went and saw your new place. Well, your temporary place till you find out a good area. I mean, honestly, everywhere up here is really beautiful. The grass is beautiful. The trees are beautiful.
I know.
Can't say much about the people.
Like, grass is so green, not all brown and burnt up.
Every time. So for those of you who don't know, Mike also had a landscaping business, and he had a bunch of tractors, and he had crews and all that stuff down in Texas. So he had to sell all of that and sell off all that equipment and stuff to come up here. So anytime we go somewhere, the first thing he does is he's like, man, it's real pretty grass. Oh, I love those hills. And he looks like a tourist, and he stops and takes pictures of everywhere. And it's like, we're not stopping to take a picture of the hill or the grass. Just get your ass in the truck and let's get to the customer site, or let's get to the hotel. But you don't do that. You want to stop and look at everything. You're like a little 7-year-old kid. Smell the flowers, look at the hills. It pisses me off. What did you think of our road trip yesterday?
It was
Tom, you went on it.
Yeah, it was all right.
I did. It was really fun. That was my first time I ever was. By the way, hi everyone. Yep. I'm still in the background.
Man, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait till you're all settled in here. You still got some stuff. You got to get your office set up. What'd you think of that picture in your office?
It was interesting. I'll say that.
What was it? Tell our viewers what it was.
It was two dudes holding hands.
It was just me and you holding hands in the truck on a nice truck.
I just me and you. I said two dudes.
It was me and you holding hands. See, what weapon system did you qualify on? Because you missed every single time. Oh man, that's fun. I think we're gonna have, and then we got 2 new hires in the office, Jake and Joe. One is our enrollment coordinator for our new track inspection school, and Jake is hitting sales. And that was really exciting to see them in there. And I think they're going to be a great addition to the team. It's good. I don't know that they are necessarily ready for us, right? One comes from a sales background. The other comes from an enrollment background.
We'll break them in.
Yeah, I know.
They'll be, give them time. It's like in the service, people you served with, they come in, never been around nothing, always good, like a good, clean person. And then like 6 months later, they're like, F this, F that, screw you.
That's how I was.
Take a shot.
I was a good person before I enlisted.
Smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. And I'm like, dude, what happened? He goes, y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all is what happened.
Yeah. I remember showing up and I was a good person. I used my manners and I don't know. I just felt like I was a good person. And then like After it wasn't very long.
We showed you. We showed everybody what a good person. This is what a good person really looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when you got to our unit, then you got to see how broken we all were.
Yeah. We won't talk about that.
We won't talk about what we had.
All I could say was,
no, don't.
What the?
Yeah. That was
all
back in the day.
This is going to work. Let's roll.
That was a different culture back then too. It was fun. I loved it. And I think a lot of that translates well into why we're able to connect well with railroaders, because railroaders are just also dirty sons of bitches, right?
Yeah.
But, a lot of the times I think people just instantly, they judge based off of appearance, right? And then they look at you and they're like, I'm going to be friends with that guy. And they look at me and they're like, that guy looks like a stuck up.
Talking about dirty railroaders.
But when you get out there and you're able to talk the language with them and like, oh, you were, a veteran. Oh, you're a railroader. Oh, like they understand. There's a little bit more appreciation that goes into that. Like they're willing to open up and take more advice from you because they know you've kind of been around the block a little bit. And I think understanding that mentality, the workplace culture, that resonates very well with people once they understand I can trust this person. He's not just some schmuck reading off of slides. Like they know what they're talking about.
We're used to pretty much the lifestyle, the hours, the starting days, and you might work that morning, and then the next day you might be going to work at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like a set schedule, like 8 to 5 or 8 to 3 or whatever it was.
Yeah. That's going to be the newest adjustment for you, I think. We were talking about that is no more crazy flight hours, really. No more like random getting home. Just like, with you stepping into our director role, you got that 9 to 5 cush now.
Yeah.
It's going to be an adjustment for you.
I was telling Marcy about that this morning, and she was like, why can't it be like 7 to 3? I'm like, oh, don't mess it up. Stop.
Why is she trying to make everyone else wake up?
Yeah, I said, because nobody gets in the office until 9.
She could show up here at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
She can get everything, lights turned on, coffee made. And, yeah.
Breakfast donuts.
Yeah, exactly.
Burritos.
I've gotten fat and sassy since.
That's one thing I got to get used to now. Now, everywhere else, we call it breakfast tacos, whether it's a burrito down south. Now, I get up here and I ask for a taco. Well, we don't have tacos. We got
That's going to be a huge adjustment, too. The food up north is not as good as it is down south, hands down. There's a lot of things I do not miss about living in the South, but one of them is the food.
I'm sure you'll find barbecue up here, but I'll have to bust out the pit.
The one we had in that barbecue, that pulled pork I had in Virginia the other day, West Virginia, that was good.
Hamburger was good.
But yeah, like they don't have kolaches. Nobody knows what a kolache is up here. They don't have boudin. They don't have good boudin. They don't have alligator, like little gator bites, right?
Yeah,
those are good.
China packs.
Yeah. The catfish is better down south. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, it'll be an adjustment when you come up here.
I did try walleye for the first time when we were in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. What did you think of that? Good. It need a little more breading on it.
Oh my god!
Because we like deep fried, and this comes out with like a about as thin as a piece of paper, and I'm like, I didn't ask for baked. I want it fried.
Just like
our deep fried.
Just like I told the bartender the other day when we went after work, I was like, how can you tell somebody's from Texas? Just wait a minute, and they'll tell you. And anytime we go to the restaurant, what do y'all have here? I'm from Texas. She's like, it's on the menu, sir. Just point to something. But anytime we go somewhere, so Tom, just so you know, anytime we go somewhere, he's got a little pull cord, like a toy. And after about his second drink, he doesn't stop talking. He's best friends with everybody.
Oh, boy.
And it's time to go, which is why I think he'll make such a great Midwesterner, because he doesn't know when to leave. He just sits there and talks forever and ever and ever. And he's so friendly. And it's like, you got to pull him out of the restaurant.
Oh, yeah, the Ohio goodbye. Exactly.
Yes. There is no saying goodbye with this man. He's like a wart on an ass. He's on there, and then I think he'll adjust well. Winters is something you're going to have to get used to.
Oh, bless that.
I think it'd be all right.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, I'll be fine.
Teaching in the winter is going to be something too.
I'm fine.
Because, that's not something we ever had to do down south with ice picks and brooms and torches and flamethrowers.
Derailing locomotives in the ice.
Yeah. We were in Michigan when that happened. I told that dude, I said, we need an audit this place. No, we're not going to audit. I'm not taking you around here. We just need to get on that engine and run it right now. It's like, that's not a good idea. We need to go audit this. We need to see if your track is, no, we're not doing that. Blah, 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 blah. I know everything.
Next thing you know, it's...
And then he gets up on the engine. He tells you to get up on there and watch his guy, and they just start dragging out, and you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then boom. You traveled like what, 200 feet? 300 feet? And then it goes off and derails. And we're like, what the hell are you doing? We told you. You know, it's like if only somebody was there to guide you. You know, ego, that's a thing that we face out in the field, right? Is you're telling someone to do something and they say, yeah, whatever. Yeah, and they go about doing it their way. And it's like,
they're set in their ways. And
look, man, I'm only here to help you, you know, but.
Yeah, that's one thing I'd always tell them, you know, it's just shorten, instead of saying 10 words on the radio, shorten it down to 3.
Yeah.
And this is how you do it. And it's like some of them got it, but then some of them just still a soup sandwich.
I call them radio queens because they get on there and they just like to hear their voice.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to tell me about the weather conditions. You don't have to tell me what you see around you. You don't have to tell me what our next 2 moves are going to be or what we're about to do on that track. Just tell me where we're going. I need distance, direction, and how it's being protected.
Yeah.
You know, just.
But they want like, I don't know. I don't get it. I'm like, by the time you get done, they're going to ask you to repeat it again because they forgot what you first said at the beginning. You know, just say, hey, shove them back, conductor's protecting the shove, come back 20 cars.
Why is that such a hard thing
and they're like,
that we've seen?
Well, conductor on the ground, protecting shove, 20 cars coming east. And I'd tell them ahead of time, just get that direction crap out.
Yeah.
Because you might get some new guy that don't know east from west.
Yeah.
There's forwards and backwards. Just
that was such an issue. You know, they would say, they couldn't say take it ahead or shove. They'd say back or east or to me or this way or, you know, it's like ahead, forward, back, ahead or shove. Just,
the other one was going in the middle. I'd never liked that. It's either pretty much
middle.
just
like a red zone?
Yeah, or going in between.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just say red zone.
Some of them say 3-step. Give me a 3-step.
Yeah, or give me a 3-step. Well, what about a 2-step?
Yeah. Nobody wants to see that nasty. That was fun. What did you think of our playlist?
I thought it was good. I thought it was a good mix. I mean, we went across a lot of different genres.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's his biggest gripe too.
Really?
I like 2, rock and country. That's it.
Yeah.
And if I do listen to rap, it's the old rap.
Like 90s rap? Like the hip hop?
Like when you can understand them instead of them speaking through a golden grill like
mumble rap. I can't stand mumble rap.
And you can actually understand them.
I can't stand mumble rap myself.
No.
Yeah. I think you're right. We did hit all genres.
You started with Pink Pony Club.
Yeah. That's always a good one to rile them up and just let them know this is the pace of the day.
I was like, okay, that's not too bad overall.
Yeah.
And we're going through like, you know, classic pop songs. I think we had Katy Perry at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just started going downhill.
It went rap and then went rock and went a divorced dad rock. That's what Jess was saying. She was like,
rock.
You know, but hey, I love Creed. Everyone on Creed and Nickelback. Like those were good bands back in the 2000s.
Just for the record, I was not listening to Pink Pony thing.
Yes, you were.
We've also listened to Tokyo Drift in the rental cars in California.
It was these guys listening to that junk.
You were complicit.
He was. He acts like he's not. Give it my last round. Oh, no.
Am I going to witness a homicide right now?
You have missed
I hit the mic.
Don't. Yeah, I think it's fun, right? It always breaks up the monotony of the car rides because car rides suck, right? Especially when you want to stop every 5 damn minutes to get gas station food, a spitter or a is something you're always looking for. That one got a there. That one got a spitter. I need a spitter. It's just the worst. No, I think we had fun, and we got another road trip coming up. We got the Railway Association of North Carolina. They've got that conference, the RANSI conference, coming up, and we're going to take a road trip down there. We're one of the diamond sponsors for them, and we're providing lanyards, and we're going to get to meet great people. We're going to get to meet other great companies out there, like-minded people. Conference season is upon us. I'm not very big on the conferences, but we have our new office in Raleigh, so I think it's important to go support that area, that state, and I'm excited to see, who we're going to meet. I'm excited to get to boast about our services. Vegas will be going to do some of the marketing and some of the coordinating with some of the people about, our services. Mike and I will be there. So if y'all are attending, please stop by and see us. But I'm excited about that. And, it wasn't until just this morning I decided it was going to be a road trip instead of a flight, because we've got we've got the TVs, we've got all the big banners, we've got the pull-up things, we've got all kinds of stuff. That's just too much. I'm not checking all that on the airplane. That's way too much.
Joe don't like checking anything bigger than that little bitty roll-on bag. He don't like checking in bags.
It's efficient travel.
He wants to carry it on.
Well, not everyone brings their wife's luggage with them. Your big old 40-pound roller suitcase with Marcy's got her cow print tags on there. You make fun of me. You're rolling through there with a cow print and cheetah print on everything. I don't want to hear it.
I love my wife.
She's a saint for putting up with you. I don't know why she does it, but there's a special spot in heaven for that woman.
Because of all this right here.
All right, Grimace. Oh, man. We're going to have so much fun in the office. That's going to be the hardest part, is separating our friendship into the professional role, especially among the newer people. Some of the people that have been around us, they know, but
I think we've known each other long enough to know when it's time to do this and it's time to do that.
Throat shot. I agree. I think we've got a good chemistry, and I think just bringing it down a little bit into the office and having you up here, it's going to be fun. Two industry veterans and two war veterans at the same office. It's going to be interesting.
I was the icing on the cake here.
It's a lot of icing. It's a lot of cake.
It's good cake, though.
All right. Well, we got to wrap this thing up. We've got lunch actually coming in about 30 minutes, and we've got to go make our rounds. We've dilly-dallied in here for long enough. But Mike, it was fun. What'd you think of the podcast?
It's going to take some getting used to.
Yeah.
I mean, 6 months down the road, y'all might not let me on the podcast no more.
Yeah.
I might get so comfortable.
Well, you're going to be busy in the office. My goal is to have you be so busy in here that I can just start taking, some of your teammates and bring them in here and shoot shit with them. That's my goal. But no, I think, these off the rail sessions, I like them. They're a lot more fun. I get to have my spicy coffee with some bourbon or something, a little splash of love in it. We're railroaders, to our core.
Yeah.
Like, we're just the same old piece of shit as the next person. And I love that it doesn't have to be a charade or like a facade. It's just, we're raw, it's unfiltered, and that's what this show embodies. And that's why I can't wait to get people on here. I mean, obviously we have, the Switch Point, which is much more informative. It's much more formal. But then we have the off the rails portion, which is just laid back. It's just a group of friends hanging out. When other Mike HR was in here and Vegas was in here, we were all just kind of shooting, hanging out. It was like 4 friends in here. It wasn't just coworkers. And it's the same thing. We have the best customers in the world. And getting some of them onto the show, it'll be fun. Talk about their company, their services. And it's like, you get to see that different side, that human side of people. And that's what I love so much about this. But I think you did great. I can't say anything about your appearance. I think you can always improve.
It takes a ugly dude. It takes a lot to love this. But once you get to that point,
I think that's called Stockholm syndrome, isn't it?
But you know what?
Where your captor just doesn't leave you alone. You ultimately have to love them.
All that matters is one person that loves this.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
You're a lovable guy. You're awesome, man. But Mike, thanks for coming on. We'll see you guys next time. If you liked this episode, please consider giving us a 5-star rating and leave a review on what you thought about it. It goes a long way. Make sure to click that notification bell so you're always up to date whenever we release a new episode. For those watching on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with people who you feel would benefit from this show. Until next time, we'll see you soon on The Switch Point.